Long time ago in the heart of Africa, there lay a village called Ukele, a place where the rising sun painted the hills with gold, and the river sang softly to the children who played along its banks. Life in Ukele was simple yet full, for the people were farmers of yam, keepers of goats, hunters of the forest, and above all, lovers of stories. At night, while the moon climbed into the sky, children sat around fires, their eyes glowing with wonder as the elders spoke wisdom beneath the ancient Iroko tree. But on one quiet afternoon, as the drums of the village were silent, a stranger appeared, his skin pale as chalk, his hair light like dried maize, and his clothes unlike anything the people had ever seen. At first, the villagers froze where they stood, for never before had their eyes beheld such a man. Whispers spread like the wind in tall grass. Mothers clutched their children, hunters gripped their spears, and the elders squinted with suspicion as the stranger walked slowly into the square. His eyes, though foreign, shone with kindness, and when he smiled, it was as though the sun itself had bent low to greet them. With a voice gentle yet strong, he spoke in the villagers' tongue. "Fear me not. I come not to take, but to give. I have come seeking children of wisdom and courage." The people gasped, for such words had never been heard. The man spoke of a journey across the seas to a land called America, where learning grew like a mighty tree. The name America rolled strangely on their tongues, some pronouncing it with awe, others with doubt, as though it were the name of a spirit. Fathers and mothers exchanged glances. Could such a promise be true? Could children of Ukele fly across waters they had never seen? But the man raised his hand and said firmly, "Only 10 shall be chosen, and they must prove themselves not only with clever minds but with hearts pure and strong." The next morning, under the shade of the Iroko tree, the stranger gathered the children and asked, "Tell me, what is knowledge?" Eager voices rang out. "It is writing," shouted one. "It is reading," and cried another. "It is counting cowries." But a calm girl stepped forward, her eyes bright as dawn, and she said softly, "Knowledge is like fire. It lights the path for those who use it well, but burns the hands of the careless." The villagers gasped, nodding at the depth of her words, and the white man smiled wide. "Child, you see with eyes beyond your years." The elders murmured blessings, saying surely wisdom had fallen upon her like early morning dew. And thus the girl became the very first to be chosen. The stranger then gathered the children in the square and commanded, "Run, but not for speed. Run with one another and show me the strength of your heart." At once, children dashed forward like antelopes, their feet raising dust, each one straining to be first. Yet in the rush a small boy stumbled and fell, his knees bloodied upon the hard earth, and the others sped past him. But one tall boy stopped, lifted the fallen child upon his back, and together they crossed the line, last yet strongest. The villagers erupted in cheers, women ululating, men beating their drums with joy. The stranger lifted the boy's hand high and declared, "This is true strength, not in the legs but in the heart that carries another." Next he brought forth a pot of yam steaming hot, the aroma dancing across the air, making stomachs rumble. He said, "Children, eat, but beware. The yam is hot and only patience will reward you." Many rushed, grabbing hungrily, and soon their cries filled the air as they burned their tongues on the steaming yam. But one quiet boy waited, watching the steam rise. His hands folded calmly, his eyes fixed with discipline. At last, when the yam cooled, he ate slowly, smiling as though he held a secret no one else knew. The stranger nodded and said, "Patience, my children, is the mother of wisdom, for only those who wait can taste sweetness." Then the stranger laid coins of silver on the ground and walked away as though distracted. Little hands darted out, some hiding the coins quickly in pockets and behind backs. Yet one small girl picked up a single coin and ran to him, saying, "Sir, you forgot this. It is not mine." The elders gasped in wonder, for honesty was rare, even among the grown. The stranger bowed before her and declared, "Truth is a crown no thief can steal, and today you wear that crown." She was chosen, and the villagers clapped their hands in pride. From his bag, the stranger drew out clay and gave a piece to each child, saying, "Shape what your heart sees." Little fingers worked eagerly, some making goats, others making huts, some even shaping spears. But one boy molded a bird, its wings stretched wide as though ready to fly into the heavens. He lifted it high and said, "This is Ukele spreading her wings to soar beyond the hills." The people clapped, tears filling their eyes at the beauty of his vision. The stranger touched the clay bird and whispered, "The heart that creates is the heart that leads." The white man returned with a great basket filled to the brim with heavy stones, its weight bending the woven reeds as though they would snap. Placing it in the middle of the square, he said, "Carry this basket across the ground to me. Let us see how you face what is too heavy for one alone." One by one, children tried lifting it alone. They strained, groaned, and sweated, but the basket did not move an inch. Then 3 children glanced at one another, smiled and bent together, each one gripping a corner. With laughter and strength, they lifted the basket as though it were light. The crowd clapped and cheered, realizing the wisdom of their choice, for no hand can clap alone. The white man raised his staff and declared, "Together mountains can be moved. Alone even pebbles can defeat you." He then pulled out a strange flute and played a tune, soft, foreign and winding like the whisper of the wind through tall grass. "Now listen closely," he said, "for I will play it once. Who among you will hold this song in your heart?" Children hummed, some half remembering, others forgetting the notes as soon as they left the flute. But one girl stepped forward, and when the flute stopped, she repeated the song exactly, her voice clear and sweet, every note like water dripping from a calabash. The villagers clapped in amazement, some shaking their heads, for such memory was rare among even the griots and storytellers. The white man nodded and said, "A memory strong as a bridge across rivers of learning, and with it she shall cross far places." Next he set a table with bread, fruits, and roasted meat, and said, "Children, eat freely." At once many rushed forward, each grabbing what their hands could hold, eating greedily with no thought for the rest. But one boy paused, took only a little, and gently pushed food toward others who had none, saying, "Eat also, for hunger belongs to no man alone." The villagers watched, their hearts warmed by such compassion. The white man placed his hand on the boy's shoulder and said, "Kindness is wealth that grows as you spend it. This boy shall be among the chosen." Whispers rippled through the crowd. How many had been chosen now, and who would fill the last few spaces? As evening drew near, the white man told a tale of the lion who ruled the dark forest, a beast that struck fear into every hunter. Then he pointed toward the forest path and asked, "Who among you will walk a few steps into the night to show courage against fear?" The children trembled, clutching one another's arms, for the forest was thick and shadows long. But a boy, tall and steady, stepped forward, his eyes calm. He walked into the shadows alone, and silence swallowed him. When he returned, he held only a dry branch in his hand, saying, "The dark holds no power over me. It is fear that makes it heavy." The villagers roared in pride, and the white man declared, "This is courage, not the absence of fear, but the choice to go forward despite it." At last the stranger said, "Now sit, children. Show me who can master not the world outside, but the storm within." One by one the children fidgeted, whispering, giggling, scratching the earth, unable to sit still. Yet one boy remained motionless, his gaze fixed on the sky, his breath deep and slow as though he communed with the spirits. The minutes passed like hours, yet he did not stir, even as flies landed on his arms. The people leaned forward in awe, wondering if the boy had become part of the earth itself. At last the white man smiled and said, "Silence is the language of wisdom, and he has learned to speak it." The tests were over, and the villagers held their breath as the white man stood tall in the center of the square. With a clear voice, he called the names of the 10 children who had proven themselves in wisdom, patience, kindness, and strength. Parents rushed forward, tears streaming as they embraced their chosen sons and daughters, pride and sorrow mingling in their hearts. Yet some parents bowed their heads, disappointed that their children were not among the 10. The white man lifted his hand and said, "Do not mourn, for greatness lies in every child of Ukele. Today 10 shall go, but tomorrow others shall rise." The elders broke kola nut, poured palm wine, and blessed the chosen, saying, "Go forth, children of Ukele. May you return with light." Days later, the white man prepared his boat by the river, its sails tall and strange like wings of a giant bird. The whole village gathered by the water, their hearts torn between joy and sorrow. Mothers tied charms of protection around their children's necks, whispering prayers to the ancestors to guide them across the waters. Fathers placed their rough hands on their children's heads, blessing them with strength and courage for the journey ahead. The white man turned to the crowd and promised, "I will return them with knowledge that will build bridges, heal wounds, and bring hope to Ukele." And as the boat drifted away, the children waved, their voices carrying across the water as the sun melted into the horizon. Many seasons passed, and word came from faraway lands of the children of Ukele, who had become doctors, teachers, leaders, and builders. Some healed the sick, others built schools, and some brought back tools and knowledge never seen before in their village. Yet wherever they went, they carried the spirit of Ukele, the honesty of the little girl, the patience of the quiet boy, the kindness of the child who shared his bread. When at last they returned, they brought not only learning, but hope, and Ukele blossomed into a place of wisdom and light. The white man was never seen again, yet his gift lived on in every home, every farm, every story told by the fire. And so the elders end the tale with this truth: greatness is hidden in the heart of every child, waiting for the day it is called forth.